Jim, one of the most fascinating places in St. Louis is the Cahokia Mounds.
Right, and it's funny because we were just talking about it, and I remember going there on a field trip as a kid, and I actually took my kids there, but I don't know much of the story behind it.
So it's interesting because it applies to St. Louis Small Business Independence Day. Mississippian culture, the Cahokia prehistoric Indians were actually small businessmen, and they came together and they started farming, and they invented new ways to farm and new ways to harvest corn, and that's how the civilization began and grew. And what's really fascinating is that around 1200 AD, at the height of the Cahokian period, the population was somewhere about 20,000, which was more than most of the great cities of Europe. It was larger than the population of London, and they had constructed really intricate ways of transporting the corn and communicating with each other. All told, there were about 120 mounds at the time, and different segments of populations lived in different mounds, kind of like how different neighborhoods are today.
Did they live in the mounds or on the mounds?
They lived on the mounds, and then the burial was underneath the mounds. But like today, so many business owners are going through challenges and trying to reinvent themselves and change. And what happened with the Cahokian people is that history says that it was probably climate changes that happened, which obviously meant they couldn't produce the corn anymore, and eventually the entire culture just disappeared because of lack of adaptation. So it's it's really interesting to think right here, just a few miles east of downtown, was a culture that was once larger than most cities in Europe, and how they grew and what they did, and then how fast it can disappear.
Yeah, I think the lesson there is if you don't stay on top of what's happening, what's changing around you, you'll end up under the mound.
Yes.
Versus on the
top.
mound.
The goal is to stay on top of the mound.
The goal is to stay on top of the mound, and it really is. It's like climbing a ladder, right? So you always want to stay up, and you want to stay aware of what's happening around you. And small businesses today, look, you guys have a challenge. We have a challenge as small business owners. We have to adapt and evolve if we're going to succeed. So St. Louis Small Business Independence Day is dedicated to you. Adapt, evolve, and thrive.
And congratulations to all the businesses that have been showcased that are adapting, thriving, and moving forward.
Welcome to the top of the mound.